All right, we are live. What is going on, everybody? This is Randall Thor Stick Stealer 19. I mean, Randall Thor 19. Hope everybody's having a great day. I'm one of the co-hosts of the Xbox 2 podcast, and with me, as always, the one and only Jez Corden of Windows Central. How's it going, buddy?
It's all good, man. All good in the hood. What is that shtick stealer thing about?
Oh man, you didn't know I steal other people's shticks, man.
The shticks.
Yeah, they're sticks. If you have a shtick out there, specifically YouTube sticks.
Shtick.
Yeah. So
Is
if you have a
specifically
stick,
dealer's shtick.
no, not dealers. No, the only thing I copy of dealers is that we both breathe air, so I copy him in that. But
It's pretty
other
important.
people
Isn't it?
other people have said I've stole their stick. You
Oh
know,
man, that's mean.
I know, right? And it's just,
That is
I'm
mean.
sorry I did it better than you ever could. More entertaining, more knowledgeable. I'm sorry, but someone had to come around and do it right for a change. Someone who actually plays games, knows what he's talking about.
Not me then.
I didn't really know you needed permission to talk about Xbox gaming and PlayStation on YouTube. I guess I needed to get a permission slip. Is it okay?
Have you like ascended to like the true YouTuber level now and getting involved in the beef?
Nah, ain't no beef. I don't really care. It's just funny to me. I get sent all this stupid nonsense, and it's just dirt off my shoulder. But I just kind of make fun of it a little bit. Yeah, I just like to make fun of it here and there. But yeah,
Do you know what I do to prevent anyone from accusing me of stealing?
what?
I don't watch YouTube. I don't read articles. I just don't read or watch anyone's content. So if anyone tries to accuse me of stealing their stuff, I just say, I don't watch any of it.
Ever. Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't plagiarize your article, but people plagiarize you.
Yes, they do.
They definitely. What was that one website? Segment Next. I believe,
Segment Next. Wasn't it? Yeah, Segment Next. I think they fired the guy who was doing that. It was a specific guy who was stealing stuff, and also Rectify back in the day. They were caught stealing from a lot of people.
Oh yes, they were. So many stick stealers out there, but actually real stealing stuff. Gotta be careful. Gotta be careful.
Gotta be careful, man. Gotta be careful.
So, yeah. Anyways, welcome to the show. I see we got a whole bunch of people in here already. As you guys kind of file in here, make sure you hit the like button. Share this out, social media. We'd really appreciate that. And hi to everybody listening to this later on iTunes or Google Play. As always, links are in the description of the podcast for those if you'd rather listen to this later at your own pace, or if you want to follow Jez on Twitter, because it's all right there, always linked. What are we going to be talking about today? Well, there's some big things happened. Yet last week, we decided to do a podcast on Wednesday because we had missed the week before. But if we'd have delayed it a single day, Jez, one single day, we could have been talking about Sony and Microsoft's, dare I say, historic partnership? Is historic the right word to use in this case?
Not really.
Not really?
Because they already rent Office and cloud stuff from them already. So it's not as if they've never worked together before on any level. And that's what a lot of people don't forget, is that Microsoft's so big, you can't escape them, man. You can't escape them. You either use Google Docs, lol, or you use Office.
Yeah.
So it's not like they've never worked together before on something. But I suppose it was pretty historic for them to sort of basically specifically announce they were partnering up for gaming stuff.
Yeah, right? Future stuff, which is going to be pretty interesting. We're going to talk about that. I haven't actually talked to Jez about this at all. So it's going to be...
You'll have to actually fill me in a bit, because I've been so busy with E3 prep and that Minecraft Earth thing from last week that I have this stuff. I just sort of left this to like my colleagues, and I was like, "Can you deal with this?" And
You know how
just
many times, guys, for you guys listening, how many times I actually have to fill Jez in on a bunch of gaming stuff? He'll be like, I don't know what this is. I'd be like, Jez, what do you mean you don't know? You write for Windows Central, you cover Xbox.
dude. Seriously, right? Windows Central. I'm trying to compete with IGN and GameSpot with a team of 3 people. So sometimes things slip through the cracks, all right? And sometimes I just have to say, look, you've got to deal with this because I am dying IRL. So, it's tough. If you want to hire me more people, then fine, go for it.
Yeah. If you want to go work at Windows Central, hit up Jez. He'll get you situated.
I will pay you in hugs rather than money.
So we'll talk about that. By popular request, because I've gotten so many messages about it. We're going to talk about that E3 leak that supposedly somebody at NeoGAF wrote. And I asked you earlier, how many DMs did you get about it? And you said about a good dozen or so?
Yeah, about a dozen.
Is this true, Jez? Oh my god!
Oh my god, is it true?
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
Yeah, the new PlayStation 5 was shown off for the first time, and I kind of want to like throw it to like the Xbox thing, like, oh my god, is next gen really going to be that fast? And console gaming apparently is niche. Might as well everybody just trade in your Xboxes and PlayStations because it's niche.
Hell yeah, it's niche.
Yeah, it's niche. You're niche. The thing that you love to do is so niche.
You know what isn't niche? Minecraft. That isn't niche.
Yeah. So we got a whole bunch of topics. We're gonna get into it, but first we're gonna talk about gaming. We're gonna talk about the games we played because that's what we do here on the show. Very first thing we talk about video games because they're the best part of doing all this. I love video games, except when I play a game that's bad, and then I don't like video games. But even then, it's like, oh, I'm playing a video game. It's pretty cool.
Bad game like Splinter Cell. Am I right?
Jez, don't even. Why do you got to bring that up? Why do you got to bring? It's fresh. We're talking about a fresh wound here.
Fresh wounds.
Yeah, come on.
I'm sorry. I'm
never gonna get a new Splinter Cell in my lifetime. Am I?
Oh well, I don't know, baby.
All right, so what have you been playing the past week since we've done the show? Let me guess. Let me think. Sea of Thieves, maybe? Because didn't you have an article you were going to drop? I thought I saw you apologize in advance to Joe Neat and the team at Sea of Thieves, which makes me think it was going to be really negative. So I would imagine you played some Sea of Thieves. Maybe you played some Minecraft, because I know you've been into that. Maybe you played a little bit of Rage 2. So what's been going on?
I've been playing some Rage 2. We talked about last week, so I won't go into it in much detail. But I don't know. It's starting to get a bit repetitive now, I guess, towards the end of the game. But I hated on the vehicle combat last time we were talking, but with some of the upgrades, it's actually pretty spectacular. But it's still not as good as Mad Max's vehicle combat. I felt like Mad Max's world was more designed for driving around than this game, Rage 2, which is more designed around shooting, which is fine. But I think they could have done a bit more to make the open world a bit more interesting. I think it gets there's like 2 kinds of desert biomes in the game, and it does get a bit samey after a while. But other than that, I've been playing Minecraft. Indeed, I've been hyped for Minecraft Earth, which I've been trying to. I started playing Minecraft Land because I wanted to write something about these new illages they've added to the game, which is sort of like a mini horde mode where you can defend a village from evil villagers. But I just can't find any on my server. Like one of my because I have a dedicated realm, which is a subscription service you pay Microsoft, and you have your own dedicated server of Minecraft. Some people on my server have found these illages, but they seem to be pretty damn rare in the seed we've spawned. So haven't even found one, so I can't write about that. Other than that, I've been playing Surviving Mars' Green Planet DLC, which is addictive as hell.
By the way, Surviving Mars is on Game Pass now.
Is it? Oh, yeah. That's pretty awesome. Well,
you don't know much about Game Pass, do you?
I don't subscribe.
Jeez. They
do you subscribe?
Yeah, I have Xbox Game Pass Ultimate until April of
Oh
2022.
yeah. See, I was trying to get that, but the page just won't load for me, so I can't get
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I mean,
It
I don't
pains
really
me.
use it that much, but
Yeah.
I mean, there's some. They added Metal Gear Solid Survive yesterday, which is like, whew, that's a reason to cancel the subscription.
Dude, I hate that game.
Most people do. That's
Yeah,
not really a good thing when you're like, by the way, guys, Metal Gear Solid Survive is in Game Pass right now. It's like, ew,
I actually
quality,
think
quality, Microsoft. It's not about quantity; it's
I
about
actually think
quality.
like I might have gotten us blacklisted by Konami over that because they sent us a review copy for Metal Gear Survive, and I was just like, I can't review this. It's just so bad that I can't even play it. So we didn't even cover it. So that's probably the end of that. But it's no big deal because Konami don't seem to make games anymore, apparently.
Yeah, that's
So
so no sweat off your sack. I guess wrong way to say that, but
my sack.
I don't know what I was
What?
going for there.
How do you play games?
Excuse me. God. Okay.
Woo. Woo. Getting heated in here, man. But other than Minecraft, what I've been playing, yeah, Green Planet DLC, Surviving Mars, it's really cool. It just sort of like if you've got Game Pass and you like simulation games, Surviving Mars is a pretty great one in my opinion. You basically colonize Mars, and the new DLC lets you terraform Mars, grow plants, farm cows and stuff. I like those. I like those kind of games, man. Man.
Mhm.
But
You definitely do.
other than that, not a great deal of stuff. I'm desperate to try a Plague Tale Innocence. Did we talk about this last week already?
Yes, you need to
Uh,
play this game. I love Plague's Tale. I really recommend it to anybody out there. I know it's a little bit expensive at 50, so maybe keep it on your rate. If you're not too sure, if you don't want to take my opinion or the opinions of other people out there, that's cool. Like, I understand $50 is a lot of money, right? So keep your eye on for a sale. It's definitely worth playing if you enjoy like a very story driven, character driven. It's not overtly cinematic, but it's really cool, like stealth puzzle, like slash action game. They don't really make a game like this anymore, so yeah, I am really excited. Like,
People have been comparing it to Hellblade a
yeah,
lot.
I mean, you can make the comparisons to Hellblade. I don't really think gameplay wise they're too similar, but I
They
can
compare it
definitely
because of the indie budget AAA.
yeah. So as we know, Hellblade was made by a team of 25 people. This game, A Plague's Tale, which it's a longer game. There's more going on. Is made by a team of 45 people. I definitely think it's worth playing. It's probably going to be in my top 10 games of the year because, quite frankly, outside of
Really?
Sekiro, well,
Yeah.
because I'm thinking of the games that have come out so far this year, right? Like, we are, May 23rd. We're essentially halfway because right, there's no games that come out in June, right? For the most part, the only game coming out in July is the new Wolfenstein game. So for the most part, we're halfway through the year. And the only
God.
game that really there's like two games that super impressed me to the point where like these games are in my top 10, well, maybe my top 5. And that's Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, which is my current game of the year, and Resident Evil 2. Like those two games I enjoyed so much I'm thinking, okay, those would be top 5 category games. The rest I've played, Days Gone, Metro, Division, like all those games, they're good, but they're not like, yeah, when you play, like, this is definitely top 10 material. So I look at it's like, with how Rage 2 came out, it's like Rage 2 for me, it's kind of like, I like it, but I don't love it. Um, the search says, "What about Devil May Cry 5?" in the chat. I haven't gotten around to Devil May Cry 5 yet. It's like the
Yeah,
next game I'm gonna play.
that's in my backlog too.
So
I
it's
need to
like
hit
a
that.
lot of these games, it's just like they're okay, but they're really nothing special. So hopefully the end of the year kind of has more breakout hits. I know we're gonna have Ori and Gears, potentially Last of Us Part 2, Ghost Recon, Star Wars, and who else knows whatever they announced at E3. So it's like for me, it's just I think of this year and it's like, okay, the best two games, Sekiro and Resident Evil 2, with like Metro Exodus kind of coming in there, but Plague Tale kind of really surprising me. Like Plague Tale probably my third favorite so far this year.
That's
Um,
awesome.
and this might sound a little harsh, but I don't know what has happened to the indie program on Xbox, but there has been a very lack of quality indie titles on Xbox this year.
Is that is that Xbox's fault, or is there
I don't
just
know
not
if it's
been that much
Xbox's
hit
fault.
dropping?
It's just that it seems like every single quality indie title that comes out recently skips Xbox. It's either
There's been a few on PC that I wanted to play, but they're like PC exclusive. Like, have you seen Mordhau? I don't know how to pronounce it.
Mordhau. I mean, I'm like, there's like Katana Zero. There's like the Messenger. There's just stuff off the top of my head. Like, recently a game just came out on the PlayStation and PC. The Observation.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I did
Yeah,
see that.
and it's just like I don't know. Like, I feel like I don't know. Like I like the
Chris
indie
Charlotte's
scene is
slacking.
it's just like lacking a little bit. So hopefully that
Yeah,
picks up.
maybe.
I know we got Void Bastards coming next week, which I've been playing. You can expect a review for that game soon. Outer Wilds is coming. Those both games will both be in Game Pass. I'm sure there'll be new titles announced at E3.
You know what's funny about the Outer Wilds? I keep seeing people think it's the Outer Worlds
Well,
constantly.
can you blame them? Can you blame them?
And Dauntless looks pretty good too. I haven't got around to playing that. It's like a free-to-play Monster Hunter sort of game. Have you seen that, Dauntless?
Yes. So Dauntless just came out. They just announced they have 4 million players in a day, I believe, and it's like the third game ever to have full PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo and PC crossplay. The first game ever to have that at launch.
Wow.
Which, and it's published by Epic. So I wonder. See, here's the thing. Here's the thing with the PlayStation thing. Like, PlayStation has this crossplay in beta, right? But they only really have it with 2 games. They have it with Fortnite, which is an Epic game, and it's also the biggest game in the world. And they have it
No, that's
with
Minecraft.
Well, okay, Minecraft, but fair enough. And they have it with Rocket League, right? I think those are the 2 games on PlayStation that are in that kind of crossplay beta. And then Dauntless comes out, which is supposed to be like a free-to-play Monster Hunter Online type of game, right, Jez? Isn't that what they're going for?
I think that's what it looks like. I haven't looked into it too much yet, but like, I'm a big Monster Hunter fan.
Okay,
and I do want to give it a once over at some point. Yeah.
So Turley says, or Tweedly2 says, Dauntless isn't on Switch. So maybe it's just PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. I thought it was on Switch, but maybe a Switch can't run it. Either way, there's not that many games that have crossplay between PlayStation and Xbox, and this is the first one that was at launch. And I think more than anything, it has to do with the fact that Epic is publishing it. You know what I mean?
I think Epic certainly holds a lot of clout when it comes to the crossplay thing, because they can just be like, well, you don't give us crossplay, then you get no Minecraft V-Bucks microtrans revenue, So that they clearly have a lot of clout when it comes to that crossplay stuff. Man, it's like there are things that Epic do that are really awesome in that vein, but man, they love to make everyone hate them over the forced exclusivity stuff. Games constantly being announced as Epic Games Store exclusives, left, right, and center.
Yeah, they're definitely spending money left and right. But yeah, so I mean, the beginning, so most of this year, kind of a little bit lackluster. I mean, I didn't really like Days Gone as much as I thought I would. I didn't like Rage 2 as much as I thought I would. Crackdown 3 was immensely disappointing. So was Far Cry New Dawn. But Sekiro, my God, how good was that game? And that was a game I didn't decide to play until the day it came out. And thank you for Love Bug Gopher for always pushing me to play that game. Even as like, I think you'll hate it, but you should play it. And I decided to play it. And currently it's my game of the year. But
I still haven't gone around to that one.
On that note, I want to talk a little bit about Rage 2 because I finished it last night or 2 nights ago. I'm about 20 hours in, and I'm on at least
20.
Yeah, 20. And you could finish the game in 5-6 hours. There's 7 story missions.
So I'm about 20 hours in, and I feel like I'm nowhere near the end.
Well, the thing is, if you're not doing this, like the story missions, like, so you kind of do the tutorial, you come out, and they want you to visit 3 people. Each one of those 3 people's 3 story missions. And once you reach level 5 in each one of their the things you do, like when you blow up certain things, like you clear a bandit camp, you get you level up the one guy's like thing. So you get all the different things to level 5. The 3 new story missions will start. You do those 3, and then the final mission, right? And honestly, it's fun, but it's fleeting and it's quite forgettable. You have like fun when you basically go somewhere and you have like a minute of fun because the gunplay is that good. Like if you were just rating this game on like gunplay and powers and how it makes you feel, it'd be 9 out of 10. Like it's that good. But everything else is just so blah and so
It's a game
disappointing and
like
so fleeting.
yeah, it's a game full of roadblocks, isn't it? Like it's almost like I really, really hate those pop-ups at the end of each little mission segment that tell you how much XP you get and stuff like that. And I think part of the reason I hate them is because it's like basically an announcement that says, "Okay, you've stopped having fun now. You've got to go and find something else to do." And it's like this roadblock. Whereas like a more focused game like Doom, there's no roadblock like that. It's just constant carnage, you know. So
Mhm.
like it feels like it does feel like it was sort of cobbled together by 2 different studios. You can sort of tell, you know, and it was. And I think if they came at it again with sort of armed with the feedback they've gotten from this game, I think they could make something really truly great if they stuck it out through to Rage 3. But yeah, it's not the best, you know.
No, it's you know what's funny is that this is from what I read, Avalanche took the lead. Like this is Avalanche's game. It was kind of just like id kind of did some consulting work, and they use them in the promotions, like because people love Doom. I honestly think the
Wasn't Tim
gunplay.
Willits the lead developer though?
I'm not sure, but I honestly think the gunplay is actually better in Rage 2 than Doom. Like
Whoa.
I really do think so. Like the shotgun,
I
the
don't know about
assault
that.
rifle, the different.
So I tell you why I don't know if I think that. I don't know if I think that because in Rage 2, every gun sucks except for the shotgun.
No, the
Whereas in
assault
Doom,
rifle is
every gun is
beast.
great.
The rocket launcher is
It's
great.
not fun.
The
They're not fun
hyper
to. They're
cannon
nowhere
is
near as fun to
awesome.
use as a
No, I
shotgun.
mean, sure, they may not be as fun, and the shotgun is amazing, but it's it's like we both agree the gunplay and the power is the best part of the game. It's like everything
Yeah, for
else
sure.
about the game drags it down, which is why I probably would, if I were to do a review, which I'm not, I'd probably give the game a 7. It's like
Mm.
there's moments of fun here. I would play for 2 hours and then be like, I'm bored. Like, you know, I don't really care what's
Yeah.
going on.
So
Um,
I gave it an 8 because I thought like I was having like I do have loads of fun with it, but it's like it's not just not annoying. It's like it just doesn't get to that level, I think. But like I say, I think there's something there, and I think like if they take on the feedback and make another one, which I hope they do, make another one, that they
I
can
hope
refine
so.
that stuff.
Sam Tolbert in chat wants to know: is the story in Rage 2 shorter than the first Rage? I mean, it's been a long time since I played Rage 1.
But I can barely remember Rage
This
1.
one is really short though, because if you just did the bare minimum for the story stuff, you'd be done in 5 or 6 hours. Um, so I'm not sure. I remember playing Rage, and I remember like playing Rage 1, and the game just ended. And you know what? The game kind of just ends in this one too. Uh, but this one runs well though. It's 60 frames. I think if you're interested in this, wait for a sale. I don't think it's worth buying $60. And yeah, I spent my money on this. Like I spent my $60 on this.
Oh, I have a
Uh,
Game Pass.
yeah, my game partner
Bethesda.
loved the game, so I'm sure he's happy I bought it. But I was like, I would have missed nothing if I waited 4 months and played this when it was $30, or waited a month and played it when it was 40 or whatever. It's definitely it can be a fun experience, but it's definitely a very forgettable one to me, at least. I know some other people might disagree with that, which is fine. But I'd be like, you know what, wait till it's $30, or you know what, maybe wait 4 or 5 months, and you might be able to play it in Game Pass. Who knows?
Bethesda's pretty chummy with Game Pass.
All right. Well, we have a question from Cloberl here, Jez.
Oh wow, it's clever.
Anybody who don't know Cloberl, you should follow him on Twitter. He's a squirrel with lots of nuggets of information, usually pertaining to Xbox,
Mm-hmm.
Microsoft, says, "Okay, Rand and Jez, I have a question for you. I heard there might be a Microsoft IP comeback at E3. I don't know which IP. Make your guesses."
Well, there was
Hmm.
that Japanese toy company that announced the new Joanna Dark figure today. Did you see that?
I did see that, and it
That
did
was interesting,
start
man.
my internal gears in my head thinking about that. It'd be
I was
what?
like, I was pretty surprised to have seen that. It seemed like pretty odd timing.
It did seem like pretty odd timing.
If there's nothing happening there, it's a pretty weird time to announce that towards E3. But I haven't heard anything personally.
But if you were to take a guess,
If I were to take a
what guess would
guess,
it be?
I think I would probably after that toy thing, I would probably guess Perfect Dark. Because it just seems so random. Otherwise, like why would there be licensing merch for Perfect Dark if the IP was dead? That just seems really
I mean,
random to
Perfect
me.
Dark has been dead for quite some time. The last Perfect Dark game we got was a launch title for the 360 back in 2005. They did do, I think, the arcade versions, the XBLA arcade stuff, a little bit later than that.
Mm.
But yeah, it's one of those IPs that you just think, wow, Microsoft could have done so much with this. Not only like that, but like Conquer, Banjo, a lot of the rare IPs. Like Microsoft is sitting on a treasure trove of IPs. And I mean, we talked about this before. It seems like, hey, if you don't have a breakout hit on the Gears Halo Forza level, uh, you get
Dead.
shelved, right?
You're dead. Yeah, I it's hard to tell, because I feel like from talking to people at Microsoft, it kind of feels like they they would rather oftentimes it feels like they want to leave the past behind and try new things. But at the same time, I think they clearly do value nostalgia, which is why they're bringing back, stuff like Age of Empires and that sort of thing. So I don't know. If I had to guess, I'd say Perfect Dark because it kind of fits in with the whole, you know, Western action game, which is what Microsoft seems to feel comfortable with, I
Mm-hmm,
guess. And I don't know. What do you think, man? What do you think?
well, a new IP coming back. Um,
An old IP coming back.
Fable. Fable immediately springs to mind.
Mm.
Uh, we've heard the rumors that Playground Games is working on it. Whether it's going to be revealed at this E3 or next E3 is kind of up for discussion. But that's a big IP. It was a big franchise. I mean, for a long time there, it was, Gears, Halo, Fable, and Forza, the big four. And then
Mm.
Fable obviously fell off to the wayside when they tried to do Fable Legends, which, it's funny. I was talking to a couple buddies last night, Zalker and Dealer Gaming, about this. It's like Fable Legends, a game that was 4v1, four heroes versus one villain. It just reminds me of a time when people get on, like, games and companies kind of try to jump too early into the next big thing. Do you remember when 4v1 asymmetrical multiplayer was the next big thing in gaming?
I do.
And all these,
Evolve, man.
yeah,
Evolve.
Evolve, Fable Legends was doing it, a couple others, and it didn't take off. And it's just
Mhm.
like, man, some of these companies is sometimes you think you have the next big thing, and then it's like nobody really cares, right? Um, so when Cloberil says that, of course, my first thing is Fable because as me and you have talked, like we know it's real,
Well,
right?
I didn't say Fable because we know that's coming. I thought he was
Ye-
talking about something that we
True.
didn't know was
Okay, so
coming.
if Fable's off the table because it's something that everybody knows about, and like if you also kind of remove Killer Instinct 2 because I mean that's already, been done this gen, so you remove that. If it's something that hasn't been done in a long time, yeah, my mind would go to Perfect Dark. There's been rumors about that for some time. Uh Obviously, but you couldn't talk about Battletoads because that was already announced. Yeah, so my mind would immediately go to Perfect Dark, but maybe that's not exactly what Cloberl is talking about. Maybe it's something like, hmm,
Well, a
he's
lot
a
of people have
squirrel. What if he
really
says it's Conquer?
I don't think 2019 Microsoft would touch Conker with a huge pole. Being
Yeah,
politically
I don't
correct.
think Rare is ever going to do any of their old IPs again. I would be pretty confident in saying Rare is going to be making nothing but newer games going forward. And if anybody does their old IPs, it'll be a different studio somewhere else, right?
Yeah. And
Um,
also, I don't think we'll ever get a new Conker. I genuinely don't think we will. At least, or if we do, it'll be some shell of what it used to be. You know.
so Cloberl says, thanks for your response. Personally, I think it might be Phantom Dust, but it's really just a guess. All I know is that it's an older Microsoft IP. Keep doing what you do. Heart emoji. Thank you.
Hugs. Well, there is
Cloberl.
that. There is that. Piranha Studios. That old Piranha Studios. Is that the name, Piranha?
Oh, the
Who said that
Microsoft stuff.
they're making the new MechWarrior game for PC,
Yep.
and they said they had met up with Microsoft. So and MechWarrior was in that quote unquote leak on NeoGAF. So
Yeah.
could be MechWarrior.
So Gunstar has a question for us in Super Chat. Thanks for the support, buddy. He says, Microsoft has invested heavily in new studios, but will they invest in second-party exclusive content? Hello, everyone. Now, before we answer, I see we have 517 people watching live, only 114 likes. So do us a favor, hit the like button, and hopefully we can, I don't know, reach 200 or 300 by the end of the show. That'd be great.
Hugs.
Yeah, because new studios are important. We both agreed on that. Like, it was one thing I wanted from Microsoft forever. Invest in your first party studios. Don't just rely on mercenary developers to make your own IP, because then you end up with stuff like Scalebound and Crackdown 3 and,
Yep.
like just game like Rise 2 could have happened if things were better. Insomniac wanted to do Sunset Overdrive 2, but Microsoft maybe didn't, which pushed them to go to Sony and make Spider-Man. So you gotta do it yourself, but also second party deals, they're important as well.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that, Jez?
Yeah, I agree. It's man, it's hard because on the one hand, there's sort of like this sort of sense of trying to manage expectations, right? Where I want to be kind of like I want to manage my own expectations and not get too into the whole what could have been sort of thing, because there's a lot of with Microsoft, there is a lot of what could have been, but I don't know, man. I don't know. How long is E3 away now? It's like
I mean, it's June 9th, so
weeks.
it's not but thinking about it, are second party deals more important towards the beginning of a gen than at the end of the gen? I mean, we do kind of see Sony and Microsoft kind of at the beginning, at least. You had stuff like Street Fighter V exclusive to PlayStation, right? You had things like Dead Rising 3, even Dead Rising 4, all the way up to like 2016. And I'm just off the top of my head, I don't have a list or anything. Microsoft with Rise of the Tomb Raider in 2015. There was, I think Sony made some other deals as well. So like in the beginning of a generation, it seems like, yeah, first party content's king, but because it takes time to build games, they're also more willing to partner up with other dev studios and publishers to maybe get timed exclusives or stuff like that. So it can help them fill the gaps of their, release schedule. And I'm sure Microsoft probably is more interested at this point in securing things for Game Pass rather than like, all right, let's like if you're Microsoft and like you're Phil and you're sitting down with your leadership team, you got Matt Booty there, you got Ybarra, you got all those guys out there, and you're like, okay, we have X amount of money to work with. Do we want to buy exclusivity to get this game only on the Xbox platform, which would probably cost a lot of money? Or do you be like, you know what, let's take this money and just, since Game Pass is so important, let's try to just get games come to Game Pass earlier, because that's the one thing we're kind of go about. Like,
I
you know what I
misunderstood
mean?
I
So it's like,
misunderstood the
instead of getting
question.
one game exclusive, like you get the money and you kind of like, okay, we're gonna have a collection of games, bigger games, go to Game Pass, because I would imagine it's a little bit cheaper to do that than it would be. That's at least where my mind goes to.
Yeah, I misunderstood the question. So or misheard the question rather. Yeah, I don't think Microsoft's going to be doing many of these second party deals anymore. like especially not the exclusivity thing. It's just sort of like it doesn't really fit with their current ideology in some ways. Privately, I've heard them be critical about Epic's approach, and I know like that wasn't the case in the past with Tomb Raider and stuff, but a lot of those deals were in place before the transition had fully been completed, So I don't think we're going to get those sorts of exclusivity deals. I think like what is totally more likely is Microsoft is going to spend the budget that they would have spent on those second party deals. They're going to spend that on licensing for xCloud, licensing for Game Pass, which we expect to be tied to xCloud. So I don't think we're going to see those sorts of deals again. It's different times, man.
Yeah, very different times. Lot of movement, a lot of things happening. Specifically, like I just want to kind of briefly mention the PlayStation 5 video that they showed because did you see this, Jez? Because
I didn't see the video, but I saw a lot of the headlines about it. So fill us in for those who don't know, including me.
so Sony had an investors meeting the other day, and the reason I'm bringing this up, and yeah, we're an Xbox podcast, but we talk about gaming in general, and I think a lot of this is going to have to do with Xbox as well, especially what they're doing uh, in the future. But they showed off the first footage of PlayStation 5, and they had a similar scene running at the same time of Spider-Man, where it was fast traveling across the city, and they had the side-by-side comparison, and it was 8-second loading on the PlayStation 4 Pro and zero point 0.8 seconds on the PlayStation 5. And then they zoomed the camera through the streets, and the PS4 Pro couldn't keep up. It would stop and stutter and sit there and loading, which is why Spider-Man moves at a certain speed in games, or why any game for that matter, you can only travel so fast because it needs to stream information in. And then on the PlayStation 5 was basically no stuttering, it was just blazing fast. They're using an SSD. I've heard behind the scenes from people that Microsoft is basically using the same solution for their next gen consoles. So when I see that stuff,
that was the earliest rumor I heard about Anaconda, was that it was using some kind of SSD.
yeah,
And there was a focus on improving loading speeds and streaming speeds.
When I see that stuff, when I see like loading in less than a second and how fast games are streamed in, they're talking about seamless. Like I can't help but get really excited for the next generation. Like we know this console is gonna be more powerful than this gen, and I have said before, like I think the X is the best console Microsoft's ever made, and perhaps maybe the best console I've owned. And I'm talking about the hardware, like not necessarily games on the hardware, but the hardware specifically. Like I think it's an amazing piece of hardware. So like I'm looking at it, and like some of these games, like they look amazing on the TV, on the X. Some of them at performance mode, and you think next gen is like, man, you're going to get like a better resolution, much better frame rate. Now with an internal SSD, which I know you can go out now and you can buy $300 SSDs and hook it up to your Xboxes and get a performance boost. But having that kind of all built together with all that in mind, just I don't know, I get really excited about the stuff for
that's the thing though. It's like you can buy, like I've got an SSD for my Xbox. I've got one of those Seagate SSDs. But the thing is, it's like you say, the games aren't made for them, and it's like they like restrict how fast you can go in games because they expect the baseline speed hard drive to be bad, So when it's kind of like forcibly bundling Connect. The idea with bundling Connect was if every dev knows Connect is definitely going to be there, they'll make features for it. Of course, that didn't work out. But the difference is if both Sony and Microsoft are bundling with this SSD technology to make it, that's the base speed by default. Not only will it lead to faster loading times and faster streaming of gameplay aspects and stuff like that, it'll also potentially open up new gameplay type opportunities that were previously sort of bottlenecked by the speed of consoles and mechanical hard drives. So it's going to be a bigger leap than I think people realize.
Right.
Having SSD as baseline.
Yeah, so I just get super excited. Like next gens here are coming. It's next year. We're going to find out stuff about Xbox at E3. Sony is, dripping information out there. They came out in April. They talked about it. Now they're talking about, at their investor meeting, they went more in detail. I'm assuming we'll get a blowout of the PlayStation 5 later this year. Microsoft will do their stuff. Like, new consoles are on the horizon, which means next generation games. So, like, I'm super excited. But see, we got a question in Super Chat from the Xbox guy. This might be a very divisive question. Should Xbox give up on Japan?
Ooh,
should they give up on Japan?
Question.
Thanks for the support, Xbox guy. We appreciate it.
That's a good question.
This is very interesting, and I am probably going to get some blowback for this. But absolutely, I don't see. But I understand why they're still there. You need to have those relationships with those developers who make pretty damn good games. But quite frankly, the Xbox consoles are never going to sell or amount to anything in Japan. Right? And this is coming from someone who quite enjoys Japanese games. But it almost seems like a market that wants nothing to do with Xbox. So I know, like, so Sam Tolber says with xCloud coming, that lets them push to mobile devices. No, which is an interesting take, and I agree with. And if it was just a console, I would say, yeah, like, what's the point of an Xbox console in Japan? So my immediate reaction would be, yeah, no, absolutely not. It's not worth being in Japan. If you can make the mobile play, then do it. It's probably more advantageous for them to do the mobile play than even sell the consoles. Like I said, like, that's kind of my thinking all the time. It's just, I don't know. I thought they'd give up, and they kind of did. They tried really hard last generation. They made exclusive games for that territory. Lost Odyssey, Blue Dragon. They had stuff like Last Remnant, Infinite Undiscovery. They partnered and did as much as they possibly could to make the 360 sell in Japan, and nobody cared. And that was your best chance. Now, of course, Japan went more mobile, so you can still make that play, and you can still do mobile, and you don't necessarily need to do the console. So I say, yeah, stop selling the console there, make your mobile play, and move on. What do you think?
It's tough, man, because on the one hand, I don't know why they even still try to be in Japan, because it's kind of like what the Sony dude said, that console gaming is niche, and nowhere is that more apparent than Japan right now. Console gaming has become a very Western thing, where, like, PC is very big in China, and then you've got mobile, which is just big in Asia in general. And we're talking serious mobile, like esports mobile gaming, which is just ridiculous to me. Like, for me, playing a game on a touchscreen is pure garbage, and, like, I won't do it. I personally will not do it. If you do it, more power to you. But I think it's garbage. But it's tough, man. Because on the one hand, I kind of want to know. I kind of want more information about what would it mean for their business if they completely stop selling there. Because I don't feel like I have that information. But I'm like you. Like, off the top of my head, I just say, yeah, just why bother? It's a complete failure.
It couldn't impact their business whatsoever. They don't really do business in Japan. I get it that if it's one of those things where, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, if it's like you say, like, it's more about developer relationships, and it's like, once you give up, even getting a foothold is going to be impossible. It's like Microsoft clung to Windows Phone for so long because they knew the moment they give up, that was it. They'd never have another chance again in that space, And even though Windows Phone was never selling, it was a joke for years and years and years and years. They still carried on with it because they knew it was going to be so crucial to the future of computing that if they gave up, that'd be it. They'd probably be sacrificing the future of computing, the entire future of computing. And, that's why they're stuck on so long. And at the same time, it kind of feels like right now the only real presence Xbox has in the home is on the console. But that isn't necessarily going to be always the case because of xCloud and because of Microsoft making more features for PC that are Xbox branded, like the new Xbox Game Bar. It's called the Xbox Game Bar, even though it has nothing really to do with Xbox. So there's that whole play as well. So personally, I think like they should just keep going for it for the short term, and like we've established, console gaming is niche. So why not cater to that niche that exists in Japan, because it does exist, and there are Xbox fans in Japan, believe it or not.
Oh, I'm not saying there isn't. I'm not saying there isn't. And JD Gamer, he wants to know, didn't the Xbox 360 sell remarkably better in Japan in Super Chat? And yes, it did. Like
But that was
uh
before smartphones.
it sold a lot, which in comparison to like the PlayStation 3 and the Wii, not that much, like not a lot at all. And Spleefy here wants to know, do you think it'll be useless to have Xbox 2 and a PC? Um n- no. I mean, it depends on each person, bro. Like, look, I have a pretty beefy PC right here. Like when I bought this thing like a year ago, like I could get better performance out of this PC than out of my Xbox One X. But I don't like playing on the PC. I'd prefer to play on my big TV over my comfy chair, right, on the Xbox. And so when Xbox 2 comes out and PlayStation 5 comes out, yeah, I could play most of the stuff on the PC, but I don't want to play on the PC. So I'll just get the consoles. And I'm sure a lot of people will feel the same. Some who are PC gamers will play on the PC and play Microsoft's exclusive that way, and maybe PlayStation exclusives if they come day and date. Other people will be like, I just prefer consoles. I mean, you have Dealer Gaming, who has like an insane rig to make all these incredible videos that he puts up on his channel. He plays on Xbox all the time. He's like, I ain't got time for keyboard and mouse and all these like PC stuff. Like, and I agree. I just like the console. So for some people, they'll choose the console because that's what they prefer, and other people they'll choose the PC. It's just an option. It's just an option. Like
Yeah, I
I
mean,
don't get it.
I'm the same. Like, I've been playing Minecraft quite a bit lately, and I've been playing it with the controller on my Xbox a lot. I've been playing it on my PC with my mouse and keyboard a lot. Like, about equal, 50-50, I would say. Um, but it's not like I sit here thinking, wow, PC is so much better than console. Like, I want to get rid of my Xbox, you know? Because sometimes it's just nice to have a system that is dedicated 100% to gaming and nothing else. Whereas, like, when I'm gaming on my PC, I get pop ups from Slack telling me to do work, I get emails. You know, PCs for work things in my head. Even though
Yeah.
there are games on PC that are exclusive that I love playing, like I wouldn't play Stellaris on Xbox with a controller because it's such a complicated game. You kind of need a mouse. And you know, there are PC exclusives that I really like at the moment, like Factorio, Mordhau, and Satisfactory is pretty awesome too. Sorry, Epic Game Store haters, but I really like Satisfactory. Um, and you know, and I play City Skylines on PC and Xbox. I just double dip sometimes, man. I double dipped on Darkest Dungeon because it was on sale on Switch. So now I own Darkest Dungeon on Steam, I own it on Xbox, and I own it on Switch. I own Resident Evil 1 on Switch and on Xbox.
Yeah.
And I own Bastion on all three systems too. Like now, like I don't know. It's just play what you want. Like no one console or platform has all the answers, you know. And I think people that claim that there is like a best of the best and there's no reason to own the other ones, then they're more trying to convince themselves than you, I would say. I don't know.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, buy what you want, play where you want. If it's console, it's console. If it's PC, it's PC. Like, I have both, and I like the console. So when I hear stuff like this, I just think you're ignorant. I just think you're trying to push a narrative. But It is whatever. Microsoft is letting people play where they want. And if you think it's redundant to own an Xbox console and a PC, well then don't. Don't buy the console. Play it on PC. Who cares? Who cares where you play? I certainly don't. I don't care if you play on PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, Xbox, PC. I don't care if you're a diehard Ouya fan. Like, just play your games,
Well.
man.
Speaking of Ouya,
Yeah, I know. So that's why I brought it up.
Ouya's
Ouya.
Ouya's officially dead now.
Yeah, officially.
The store's been shut down.
George
I
Driver
mean,
in Super Chat, he wants to know, what's up, Rand Jazz, fellow gamer from the Windy City, and wanted to know your thoughts on this gen only really being a test for the upcoming gen. Thanks. I don't think so.
I mean, they didn't predict things like ray tracing back then. You don't make a whole generation just as a throwaway generation.
No, there's definitely no.
There's just been a lot of screw ups.
yeah. This isn't like if streaming was introduced to today, then you could say, yeah, that's probably a test for what they want to do next gen. Like, obviously, the Xbox SAT console is definitely a test of the market.
I have one of those right here.
Yeah, I don't think this gen definitely wasn't a test. It was more an extension of what they introduced at the end of the 360 era with digital downloads and stuff, and that kind of came into its own this generation. But this generation has just been physical media and digital living side by side, with digital encroaching more and more. Maybe you have a larger push to free to play for the most part, but I don't really think anything in this gen it's a test. It's just people trying different things, and we'll see how that plays out next generation. Burnout and Bourbon Super Chat, he says, rumor is Sony will eat money to undercut Microsoft. Thoughts? I guess it's possible. I mean, it's also possible that Microsoft will eat money on, the premium SKU to get it out there as a loss leader, because they know the people that buy into Condo will spend a ton of money in the future to basically make up for it. We'll see. I mean, we'll have to wait and see what Sony sells the PlayStation 5 for, and what is actually inside the PlayStation 5.
I think the days of quote unquote loss leading they're over, I would say. We live in an age of $1,000 phones,
Yeah.
I don't think they're gonna undercut themselves to the point where it's like they're eating costs just to compete. And like we've established, console gaming's niche. So
console game, we gotta talk about that too. JD Gamer wants to know, did Microsoft fail in Japan because of hardware or software? And can we blame X1 fail on Kinect and Terry Myerson? I mean, you can blame a lot of reasons for the Xbox One fail. Kinect is one of them, driving up the price and the performance of the system down. Terry Myerson, Don Matrick. I mean,
it's not just Terry Myerson. It's like the whole of Microsoft was in this sort of weird transitional phase at the time. They pivoted from a Windows company to a cloud company, and like their whole sort of mentality as a corporation got upended during this generation. And like if you go back and look at some of the old Microsoft history books out there and stuff, you'll see that Microsoft is a company that's always been struggled to pivot. They struggle, even like now, they struggle to pivot on phones, they struggle to pivot on smart assistants, and they're completely giving away that. Even though they had a head start with Cortana, they completely gave that entire market away to Amazon, which is just terrible. And they're just this company that struggles to recognize trends and then quickly take advantage of them. And it's because of how big they are. They're so big and they do so many different things that they just struggle to pivot. And on that basis, we can blame a lot of things for why Xbox failed this gen. But like the way they've restructured it is that Xbox should be quote unquote more nimble in the future, like able to respond to industry trends a lot more quickly than before, and that sort of thing. So and other parts of Microsoft have been restructured to be more nimble, to move faster, because it's all about speed in the tech business, baby. And that's what Microsoft always didn't have. They always didn't have this speed. So hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things you can blame on the failure of the X1. I mean, marketing, message, always online. You know, if you don't have internet connection, we have a product for you, the 360. I mean, there's a litany
Oof.
of things.
Good
PlayStation
word.
coming in with the more powerful system and cheaper. You're like that video of this is how you share games. I mean, there is a multitude of factors, not just really a single one. And Gunstar in Super Chat wants to know who has more buying power with AMD, given Azure. I would assuming you mean Microsoft versus Sony. Um, I mean,
Buying
I mean,
power.
Microsoft
Um,
has more money, but that doesn't necessarily mean like the Xbox division does because they don't have access to all that. PlayStation is more important to Sony in general, so you would think they'd spend more money because PlayStation is um like a bigger thing for them. I don't know. It's gonna be interesting going forward, but JD says Jez, God forbid they screw up HoloLens. It's great. Um,
yeah, HoloLens is like if Xbox is niche, HoloLens is like a super niche.
yeah, super niche.
We ain't gonna see
Really
a
niche.
consumer version of HoloLens for a damn long time, if ever.
So
Frankly.
let's talk about this Sony and Microsoft partnership then, right?
Okay.
So
So
how do you want to talk? So we'll give a recap. So if people are just joining us, and if you are just joining us or you've been here the whole time, we have 563 people watching live, which is incredible. Make sure you hit the like button. We're over 200. It'll be pretty amazing to get to 300 by the end of the show, and who knows where after the show is over. We appreciate everyone being here and rocking with us live. It's awesome. So Thursday, last week on Thursday, out of nowhere, out of the blue, literally, article comes across from Microsoft. Sony and Microsoft sign a strategic partnership to explore different things, mainly to do with. And I don't have the article in front of me, but
shall I get the article up? Shall I get
okay,
the
go ahead.
article up? I'm
So,
gonna get the
what does
article.
it detail, Jazz? So then we can kind of go into it because I know there are people that Rand. Did you hear the ink on the deal's not dry? It's not finished. Of course, it's not finished. Just like when Microsoft announced they bought Playground last year at E3, it hadn't gone through yet. These things
So
take time, you know,
yeah,
all that good stuff.
this was so strange because first and foremost, we heard about this. I told you about this, that I'd heard something like this was
Oh,
going
yep.
down.
Mm-hmm.
I told Rand over a year ago that I'd heard something like this was going down. And we heard like, well, at the time when I heard it, I was like, could this be announced at E3? And I'm so glad I didn't report it because clearly it wasn't announced at E3. But clearly this is a deal that's been long in the works. Clearly, if I heard about it that long ago. So this case came out on May 16th on the Microsoft blog randomly. There was no press embargo or anything like that. Like they hadn't told any press about it. And Microsoft, it's so strange, you know. Nobody at Microsoft will even talk about it. It's like it's so high level hush hush that no one really wants to talk about it to me, which is so strange. But in any case, this is what it says. Sony Corporation and Microsoft Corporation announced on Thursday that the two companies will partner on new innovations to enhance consumer experiences in their direct consumer entertainment platforms and AI solutions. Under the memorandum of understanding signed by the parties, the two companies will explore joint venture development of future cloud solutions in Microsoft Azure to support their respective game and content streaming services. In addition, the two companies will explore the use of current Azure data center based solutions for Sony's game and content streaming services. By working together, the companies aim to deliver more enhanced entertainment experience for their worldwide customers. These efforts will also include building better development platforms for the content creator community. So they're talking about two things there. First of all, when it comes to the content creator community, they're talking about Azure Game Stack. Azure Game Stack is a suite of tools, kind of like Microsoft Office, but for game devs. So it's like there was a feature on PlayFab, which is part of Azure Game Stack, for Sea of Thieves recently, where they basically developed PlayFab, which I believe they actually bought PlayFab, which was a separate company at one point, if I remember right.
Yeah, they
But
did.
yeah, so PlayFab is like it's basically a a customer analytics tool for live service games. So and there's like a bunch of stuff there that in the Azure game stack that developers can use to, make and service online games. Ubisoft uses Azure for Rainbow Six Siege. I don't know if they're using PlayFab and the rest of it, but they're definitely using Azure for Rainbow Six Siege and probably other stuff. Now, the other point they made was about streaming technology. That's obviously talking about PlayStation Now, obviously talking about xCloud. Clearly, what has happened here is that Sony CEO has looked at the Gaikai. I don't know how to pronounce it. Basically their server infrastructure for PlayStation Now can't compete with Tencent. It can't compete with Amazon. It can't compete with Google, and it can't compete with Microsoft. So they've basically conceded that they have to partner up with one of these companies. And clearly, it's a simple case of Microsoft offered the best deal, the best technology for the best deal. That's what it says to me. I don't know, but the interesting thing is, like, people saying the ink ain't dry and fanboys crying that the ceiling's falling, the sky's falling, and all this sort of stuff. All it means is that Sony's going to be renting Azure technology the same way they rent Office. It doesn't mean you're going to get God of War on your Xbox. Doesn't mean you're going to get Halo on your PlayStation. Doesn't even mean you're going to get xCloud on PlayStation, even though I'm sure that Microsoft would love that.
Oh, they would die for that.
They would die for that. I don't think it means.
You mean I'm not going to be continuing the adventures of Kratos on my Xbox, or journeying with Master Chief and Halo Infinite on my PlayStation 4? What?
Yeah, I don't think it means any of that stuff. I don't think. Yeah, I don't. This is a partnership purely at the corporate level for services rendered, like Office. That's as banal as it is, right?
Well, it's an agreement between Sony and Microsoft, not necessarily PlayStation and Xbox.
Yeah.
And
That's the thing.
clearly
It's not Phil in the picture. It's Satya.
right, and like clearly, as everybody's been saying, like Sony was going to choose somebody. Sony knows they don't have the infrastructure to meet a cloud future, and everybody thought it was going to be Amazon because
I
they
thought
already
it was
have.
going to be Amazon.
Yeah, everybody thought it was going to be Amazon because PSN is based a lot on Amazon stuff. They use AWS for a lot of their things, and everybody just assumed it was just Sony's gonna pick Amazon, but they didn't. They went with Microsoft, presumably because they feel it's the best, whether it's the best price or offers the best experience. Probably a combination of the two, but I mean, I think right now, and I don't think you'll see. This is the other thing. I don't think you'll see anything from this deal anytime soon. Like, this is more of a 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road type.
I honestly don't think
thing.
we'll see anything of this deal ever, because if the technology works, you won't even know it's there. That's the whole point.
Like, you're right. You wouldn't, like, the technology works and like they can just stream games. You wouldn't really even know it's there. But like, this isn't something where like tomorrow PlayStation Now is like you were experiencing extreme latency, and then today it's as smooth as butter. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like, this is stuff.
sure.
This is forward-looking future stuff because Sony knows they need to compete in the streaming market. That's where Google's entering. That's where Amazon is entering. And sure, a lot of people out there, myself included, are kind of, you look at streaming, it's like, is it really that going to be that big? As big as all these companies think it's going to be? You're like, is it real? Are people like 2 billion gamers out there? That's the whole thing. That's who they're after. And I still have my doubts those billions of gamers give a crap about anything Microsoft or Sony are doing, right? I question it. But then again, that's why I'm not leading these companies. Maybe I'm short-sighted or whatever, but like, Sony clearly feels they needed to do something to be in that space, to be able to ramp up the scale to meet their competitors in that market. And now their competitors, it's not just Xbox and Nintendo anymore. Their competitors are Google, they're Amazon, they're Tencent. They're all these big companies, and they basically are saying, streaming's the future. It's not the future 5 years from now. It's like 10 years. It's a play for like the current generation of kids growing up now. Because 10 years from now, a lot of us are going to be old. Maybe we get out of gaming, right? We're gonna just grow out of stuff, right?
We're not gonna get out of gaming.
I'm just saying, like when you think of like the younger gamer right now, they expect to be able to play their games wherever they want, on their cell phones, on their iPads, on an app on the TV. And those kids are going to grow up and expect certain things. So it's also a play for that. And Sony's just doing what any good business is doing. They're just looking forward or planning for the future. And in the meantime, nothing's going to change for PlayStation users. It's not like Sony's going to stop investing money in what PlayStation does best, which is those big AAA cinematic exclusive games that they make, right? The God of Wars and the Horizon Zero Dawns and all that stuff. They're still going to make all those games, just like Microsoft is making a bunch of exclusive content, because that's what's going to be needed to separate these streaming platforms from one another.
Basically, they want to bring the things that we take for granted to people who are struggle to get into it. You know, I mean, we can call them normies, right? Normies who not damn normies who aren't real gamers, quote unquote, real gamers with a Z, but they play Candy Crush all day because it's so damn accessible. You know, they play things on their phone because it's right there in front of their face. They don't have to be cool or get into an online community to get into the game. They don't have to download a separate client like Steam. They don't have to buy an expensive console. It's just there on their device instantly. Like YouTube's there instantly, like Netflix is there instantly. Like they want the normie market. And right now, the best option they've got to get the normie market, we're going to call them the normie market. The best option they've got right now to get to the normies is streaming. That is the only option they've got to bridge the gap between core console gamers, core console developers, the artists and the passionate people who want to make console quality experiences for PC and console gamers. The only way they can bridge that gap is through streaming. That's what they feel like, you know. So, yeah, and DJ Singh in chat says, normies rule the majority. They do indeed rule that majority. And they want that. They want that majority. They want to convert them to proper gamers, you know. None of this Candy Crush stuff. So the way I see it is, it's only a good thing. And the only people who'd be truly against this are like really creepy, weird fanboys who are more in love with the brands attached to their console than actually gaming.
Yeah. I mean, that's basically what it comes down to. And I think in the future, I mean, I said this in my videos, I've been saying it for a while. I think at some point, I think Sony's going to put their big games on mobile and PC via streaming, not necessarily through PlayStation Now and a subscription service, but I imagine at some point God of War 2 comes out. You can play it on your PlayStation 5, and if you buy it through PSN, you can stream it to your mobile phone and stream it to your PC.
Epic Games Store exclusive.
I think that's going to happen. I can't assure you, but I'm pretty positive that's where they're going to go. Because they're going to want people to choose their streaming solution or their streaming platform, and what's the best kind of, you know, way to sell it. It's with their own games.
It's like PC. PC is this like
they'll do it.
Sorry, go on.
Well, I don't think they'll do it right away. I think they'll wait probably a couple years for the PlayStation 5 to settle the hardcore, and then boom, it'll open up, and you'll have people melt down because it is what it is. You know, like, you know, a lot of people put a lot of importance on the exclusivity of a game to a console, which, you know, Xbox guys have. I mean, there hasn't been an Xbox exclusive in 3 years. Like, the last Xbox exclusive is Halo 5 Guardians. Like, everything since 2016 has been Play Anywhere, which means it's been on the PC or on Xbox, and it's only going to get more diluted. It'll be on Xbox, it'll be on PC, it'll be on mobile. And potentially, who knows, it could even be on the Switch. We already saw Cuphead on the Switch. There's talks of Ori coming to the Switch. So the games are going to be kind of going everywhere. And that just seems the approach that Microsoft is definitely going. And I think eventually that'll be a similar approach to what Sony's going to do, just because that's what they're going to have to do.
And
So
that is what has turned Microsoft from a billion-dollar company into a trillion-dollar company. Is like they realized it with Office first of all. They were like, why do we restrict Office to Windows platforms? Why isn't it on everything? If it was on everything, we could make way more money. But they were like, oh no, like Steve Ballmer was short-sighted, and it was like, oh no, we need to control the hardware so we can keep selling Windows. But Satya was like, nah, that's not where the money is, mate. We're gonna put this everywhere and become a trillion-dollar company. And he did it, and now they're a trillion-dollar company. And
yeah,
that's the next play for Microsoft for Xbox gaming is just to put it on everything, and that means more money to make games which people enjoy, and it doesn't matter where you play it because it's all living on the intelligent edge, which
yeah.
is what they think
Well,
is better.
Sam Tilbert in chat, he says Google, Microsoft, Sony. We see the players that each are making or plays that each are making for streaming. So where does that leave Amazon? I mean, I've
We
heard
still haven't
Amazon.
seen Amazon's play.
Yeah, and then theirs is still coming. I mean, those will probably be revealed when it's ready. I mean, we know they say Stadia is going to be ready at the end of this year at some point in time. Like we don't know anything about Stadia. Like what games are going to be launching with it? What is the pricing structure of it going to be? How's it going to run? And then Amazon, I mean, yeah, Amazon, they are what? The biggest retailer in the world? You know, like
Yeah.
I get it's a lot of disruption coming into the market. I mean, even the ex Sony, ex PlayStation boss of like PlayStation America, Jack Tretton, right? He went and did an interview recently and be like, yo, Sony's gonna face exponentially tougher competition next generation than they did this gen or the PS3 gen. Exponentially tougher. He thinks they're up to the task, but it's not going to be super easy. You have Microsoft, who's more invested in gaming than they've ever been. You have Nintendo riding high with the Nintendo Switch. I mean, it just outsold the PlayStation 4 in like 2 years in Japan. It's selling like hotcakes. It's currently the number one selling console in America, right? So you got them doing well. You have Microsoft doing a resurgence. You have the tech giants, Google and Amazon, entering the market, trying to disrupt it. It's definitely a lot more competition for PlayStation. Now, of course, PlayStation, I think, is primed to meet it. I mean, you don't sell 100 million consoles, 150 million consoles, 100 million consoles with the PlayStation 4 just on, good luck. There are things Sony does incredibly well. So it's definitely going to be an interesting next generation. Definitely more interesting than this one turned out to be because this was just over from day one. But Shaddai Eternal in the super chat, he wants to know, as the experience of gaming keeps evolving, like right now with the partnership Sony and Microsoft, will we see the experience evolving towards that of Ready Player One movie?
Yeah.
I don't think so. Like,
What is that?
so it's the Ready Player One movie. It's where it's like virtual reality becomes reality for a lot of people, and
Like the Matrix?
kind of. I don't think so. We're like, I mean, you kind of have that now with the internet, but no, I don't think so. I think
It is fun to imagine like where the technology could go in like, 20, 30, 40 years. What if we have just brain implants and we can just blink and then you get xCloud in your
I mean, that's what I
eyeballs.
want like VR to be. Like I want VR to be like
in your brain? You
no,
want
I mean
Facebook
VR
in
to
your
be
brain?
like you just put on a pair of glasses and you're in VR. You know what I mean? Like not like the setup they have now. Like we need.
That's the thing. It's so inaccessible, and only hardcore people want to get VR. But like to get the normies involved, which is the mass market, the normies, you have to make it accessible. And right now, it ain't. It ain't accessible. I try playing Minecraft in VR like loads, and it just makes me feel sick, man. It's like, I mean, I do have the cheapest headset out there in the HP Windows Mixed Reality headset, but it's not very accessible.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to see that happen. I would love to be transported somewhere or whatever. Like I don't like maybe 20 years from now, 30 years from now, we're in something like that. I mean, VR is cool. I mean, I have PSVR. I've used it. It's definitely cool. Like, I don't think my body likes it very much. So I'm hopefully hoping for like a new iteration next gen, which cuts down on some of like the sickness that you can get from it. So I can use it because there are some games that are really good on there. But so console gaming niche jazz.
Niche.
Um,
It is.
Also,
It's
the Sony
niche.
CEO, when they were talking about all this stuff, came and said that when you actually look at the console market in comparison to the total gaming market, it is a niche thing, which prompted a lot of people to be like, "What you mean? What are you saying?" And it is a weird. I'm just gonna get this out. It is a weird thing for the Sony CEO to call basically PlayStation 4 or the PlayStation in general niche, considering it makes them the most money. It's basically the division that has propped up Sony as a whole for the last bunch of years. It's a system that's dominating gaming right now. 100 million consoles sold. So like when you hear the CEO call it niche, it's like, huh. And
Thing
then
is, people are taking that as an insult.
it's not
But
an insult. That's what, but people do for whatever reason. For whatever reason, when you call something niche, people think it's an insult. But Jez, why is it not an insult?
it's not an insult because it shows his ambition to take PlayStation bigger to those bloody normies we talked
Those
about
damn
earlier.
normies.
Those damn normies. So he wants those normies money, and that doesn't mean he wants to make God of War Candy Crush. It means he wants to turn those normies into core gamers by reducing the barriers to access for them. At least that's my interpretation of it. Basically, it's like it's the same strategy Microsoft's using, the same strategy Google's using. It's to make everything more accessible, you know. And Sony doesn't have the infrastructure to achieve that right now, but it sure as hell has the IP, which is half the battle, if not more than half the battle. You know, because no one's gonna. You can have the best damn streaming service in the world, but if you ain't got the content, nobody cares. And we saw that this week. Did you see all the memes about people unsubscribing to HBO Go because Game
Yep.
of Thrones is finished?
Mm-hmm.
So that like HBO streaming service is pretty much dead now because Game of Thrones is gone.
Well, and they didn't
So
really make anything big in the meantime to offset that. So now that Games of Thrones is gone, it's like, what am I? Do I need to keep this subscription to HBO? But look,
exactly.
as far as the niche thing goes, I mean, he's 100% correct. Like, sure, if you go back generations, it's probably not a true statement because gaming was just console gaming and it was the entire market and it wasn't a niche product. But gaming is much more. Like, with the advent of smartphones, free to play games, browser based games, PC games, and console, the console market is a subsection of the entire market. And by actual business definition, a niche is just a specialized segment of a market, essentially. So
That
he's
doesn't
right.
mean it's not profitable.
Well, no, of course it's
Because
profitable.
like
Like,
for example, Windows Central used to be called Windows Phone Central. Now there weren't that many Windows Phone users out there, but it was a very, very passionate niche, and we built an entire business off that niche.
mm-hmm.
So it's not like that he's saying it needs to go away. It just has to not be their whole business. And it's just like when Windows Central wanted to expand, we stopped being called Windows Phone Central and started being called Windows Central, and we started covering Windows, laptops, Xbox, and everything that's powered by Windows. And it's a bloody good job we did, because what happened to Windows Phone? It
It
died.
died.
So if Sony and Xbox relied forever on that single console core niche, and if we all one day just decided, you know what's more convenient? You know what's more convenient than setting up a console? You know what's more convenient than this? It's more convenient to just use our brain implants and just play our games streaming via the cloud into our brain implants. You know, the companies that don't evolve to meet that futuristic vision, whether it comes to pass or not, they're the ones that are going to be screwed. So people should be grateful that Sony's actually has the vision to evolve and not just cater to this traditionalist mindset of please only make consoles and nothing else, because that's just weird.
Well, I mean, he's speaking the truth just based on the numbers. You know, the mobile market, the PC market combined are bigger than the console market. So it's like, yeah, it's a segment here, but also, you know, it's like it's their future. They understand that they need to rise to meet that. But it's not a bad thing. It's just
I can
it's
do
just
both. I can
right.
do both.
And the thing that really kind of interested me, besides this whole like, oh, consoles are niche thing, is like, imagine if this was our buddy Phil Spencer who has said this quote and
Oh,
said Phil had done an interview and said, you know what, console gaming is niche.
yeah,
Twitter
that
would have
would have
been
been.
on fire
Woo!
that day. You would have
It would have
had
been.
PlayStation fans saying, well, Xbox is done. They've given up. They're calling console gaming complete niche. It is over. You'd see YouTube videos from people bitching, screaming at the top of their lungs, complaining about it. You'd even have Xbox fans being like, really, Phil? You just stabbed me in the back here, right?
Yeah.
But it wasn't Phil, even if, you know, he probably thinks the same, which I'm sure he does think console gaming is niche. But it was Sony's CEO, and it's a little bit like different there. It's just it basically shows you how, you know, there's different standards for different companies, you know. So uh yeah, Phil, you got saved on this one. Like you could come out and say console gaming's niche now because Sony did it for you already, and you won't get the blowback from it. I mean, hell,
Oh
remember
man.
remember when Phil said, was it 2 years ago, that single player gaming, you know, isn't as doesn't make as much money as it used to, and
Oh yeah, yeah.
people like me, because I made a video like I was like, like he got this, and people still bring that up to this day because they see the successes of the God of Wars and the Days Gones and the Spider Mans, you know, and the other like great single player games that come out like Sekiro, like these games that do well, and he still gets held to those comments that he made, you know, about that stuff. So, you know, you got to be careful sometimes. I know you don't want to be the first one to say console gaming is niche. Thank God, thank the Lord, it was Sony's CEO this time. But um,
He ain't wrong.
I mean, yeah, I don't. He ain't wrong either. So Steven Sullivan wants to know, any idea if Microsoft was working with Nintendo this E3? Any thoughts on their partnership? Thanks for the support. Now, Jez, you should say, when you heard this rumor about Sony and Microsoft, you also heard the same thing about Microsoft and Nintendo, correct?
Yeah, that was the weird thing. It's like we heard when that rumor started going around about Game Pass coming to Switch, I like wrote that I'd originally heard of some kind of deal going down between not only Nintendo but also Sony with regards to something service based. Now, I had no idea at the time what it was or what it possibly could have been. So I just assumed maybe it was for Game Pass or something like that. But didn't Nintendo recently tell their investors too that they're exploring streaming as a future?
Um,
Unless I dreamed that or something.
I haven't seen that.
Well, okay, maybe I made that up then. But
Maybe you
you
dreamed
know,
it.
maybe I did. But it's kind of like no. He did say something like that. Um, Hang on a sec. Give me a moment. So, man, I can't find it now. Oh no, here we go. Here it is. Right. So, Nintendo's CEO, their president, said before, um, that one day our business could shift away from home consoles. Flexibility is just as important as ingenuity, and he said that quite a while ago, actually. But it just goes to show that the whole industry is thinking about this cloud streaming thing, and Microsoft is clearly at the forefront of whatever that is going to look like. So if I was Nintendo and Sony, I would be more interested in partnering with Xbox purely on the basis of they've got a proven track record as a gaming company, whereas Google has a proven track record of being a privacy violating evil company, and Amazon has a proven track record of, I don't know, trying to take over the world with its retail empire. So I think I don't know. I don't know if we're going to actually hear any sort of dream, any sort of sorry, I was reading chat at the same time I was talking there. I don't know if we're going to hear about any sort of deal at E3 with regards to those companies. I don't know if the ink is dry, as some people like to say. I don't know what all of this stuff means for those companies, but at the very least, they're actively thinking about what the future of gaming looks like for their customers, thinking about how they can adapt to the future paradigm shifts and stuff like that. And people should be glad that these companies are the ones thinking about it rather than just giving it away to Tencent and Google, because they don't care about gamers.
Yeah.
Especially Google. Google don't care about gamers. They want that. Google wants to get your data, and they want to sell you things. They want to know more about you. They're like Facebook. Facebook's the one that gets all the flack about privacy violations and selling you things, but really, it's Google is 10 times worse than Facebook, because whenever you want to buy something, what's the first thing you do? You hammer it into Google. Is this any good? And I know, because Windows Central's entire business is built on this. It's built on the laziness of the normies who just hammer things into Google. Google doesn't care about gamers. They just want more data so they can further refine their search results. I mean, Google's just an awful company. I mean, just look at the constant scandals coming out of YouTube, and them trying to automate aspects of the community that really should be managed by people, and they want bots to run everything because they don't want to pay anyone to actively police their communities. Google is the wrong company to support in this.
You really don't like Google.
I king hate Google.
Mm.
And
They're listening right now, Jazz.
they can listen all they want. I don't use any of their services except for YouTube, and that's only because I have no choice, because they got a bloody monopoly. But it's a fight for the future in a way, and it's I don't want Google to be the ones who control gaming. That would be horrible.
Yeah,
It's already horrible that they control all video content, because you are beholden to Google's evil overlord algorithms when it comes to search content. Windows Central is too. If an article ranks in Google, that's the difference between an article making money and an article not making money. They have so much damn power, and the last thing ultimately that we want Google to have is power over gaming, because they don't care about gamers.
That is a sad. I mean, imagine if they become de facto. That'd be a sad future. I mean, what you're painting there. But as far as it relates back to Nintendo and Microsoft, yeah, I could easily see Nintendo and Microsoft coming to a deal for cloud streaming or more Xbox Live stuff on Switch. I know. Yeah, like there's always, somebody always asks me about characters coming to Super Smash Bros. And like,
Oh man, the Smash Bros community is amazing. Like every shred and hint. Like I saw, like, coming out of Smash Bros community recently, someone said, like, posted on a Smash Bros forum or a Discord or something, like, oh man, look what happens when you search for Banjo Smash Bros. And it was just like a link to a Banjo's game or something. And somehow they took that to mean that maybe Banjo was coming to Smash Bros. It's just like so strange. There's some serious passion for Banjo in that community.
Yeah, they want some characters for for Smash. Can't blame them. Can't blame them whatsoever. I still like last time I asked, like I said, Banjo's still gonna be in Smash. I guess we'll find out eventually, but I think a lot of companies will end up using Microsoft's Azure. It just won't be Sony. I mean, I think plenty of it use it now. So
you don't think Sony will use Azure?
No, I think a lot of people will. Tons of companies,
but not Sony.
No, I said Sony. Obviously, Sony, Nintendo, like everybody. The whole world will be on Azure.
It's gonna be a problem for Apple too, because Apple's cloud is pretty lame compared to Google and Amazon and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I figured we have to talk about this Xbox leak, Jez. Too many people have asked me about it, even though I did a video about it. You're getting DMs about it, so I figured we go over this entire press conference, quote unquote, supposedly, that's making the rounds. And it's really weird how somebody can get like so. I'll give you the background story on this. Somebody made a post on NeoGAF, even though that forum's dead. It's dead as a doornail. If you actually want to get to an influential forum, use Reset Era. But quite frankly, Reset Era is just as bad as NeoGAF was. Like 100%. Like I don't post on Reset Era. I do browse, and Jesus is it's basically NeoGAF 2.0. It's pretty bad. Which is no surprising. A lot of the same users moved over there. But he posted this thing, all these games that are coming, and like all of a sudden, all these websites were just like, rumor, a new Mech Assault coming, rumor, Fable, Perfect Dark, all the same. Like, and it was just like,
Yeah, you know what? I can bring that back to another rant about Google.
what?
Because Google's algorithms right now are promoting the keywords E3 rumors. So it's low hanging fruit. Now
Low hanging fruit. There you go.
And that promotes clickbait, and that promotes fake news, and then you get Google destroying the whole world. Thanks, Google.
Yeah, it's always Google's fault. Damn it, Google.
Damn Google.
So you made this post, and then everybody starts retweeting it. I made a video about it because I was just like, come on, people, we gotta be smarter than this, right? We gotta be smarter. Now I'm still working on my prediction video. It takes a little bit of time. I'm carefully fine-tuning things because for the most part, like it's been quiet. Like even the people I talk to, like, yeah, they're not like Microsoft has things like locked down about what's going to be there.
Microsoft has implemented systems this year to prevent leaks.
Yeah, which is great for you guys that want to enjoy E3 without knowing what's going on and just be surprised. Like that's awesome. Like because last year nothing leaked. I mean, yeah, we kind of knew certain things were going to be there, but for the most part, like it's like, oh my god, look at all the stuff. Like nobody knew. So it's cool. Like one of those things where like, yeah, I kind of want to watch E3 and not really know what's going to be there. I want to be surprised. I'm sure a lot of other people are in the same boat. But as far as this one goes, like this is what passes for, what people would call an insider. That and he gives three sections. One, what is going to happen, 100%. A different section that has a high probability of happening, which means it might not, and then one small chance of happening. So basically saying it's not going to happen. So when you got to start your whole thing here, like saying this might happen, it might not, but basically, Halo Infinite, Gears 5, Gears Tactics, or In the Will of the Wisp, all will be there, all with release dates. Amazing, isn't it? Amazing that you could predict such things that are so hard to think of. Oh my god, what's going to be there? You think these games that they've been teasing for a while? Okay, Bleeding Edge, Ninja Theory's game. This is something, and this is what he says, right? Ninja Theory's next game. I'm hearing two conflicting reports. One stating that it's a co-op horde-like sci-fi shooter with aliens across different planets and intense boss fights, and another that it's an arena multiplayer PvP game. I have no 100% confirmation yet on exactly what it is. Yeah, you think? Well, see, the co-op's horde sci-fi shooter, that was part of a Reddit leak literally a month ago, right? Oh, and the PvP multiplayer game, who said that? Oh yeah, me, like literally a month ago. So this guy's like, I don't know, it could be one of these two things. Oh my god, like, yeah, The Outer Worlds, 100%, Cyberpunk, 100%. Now he says Age of Empires 4, which if you are following kind of the conversation, around Xbox and what is going to be there, you would put this in there, right? And he puts it in there as 100% happening, Jez. 100%, which you've heard that may not be true whatsoever.
Well, again, I don't know for sure because, like we said, it's pretty locked down. But I ain't confident that Age 4 is going to be there. Put it that way.
So Fax Machine says, Rand, you're part of the problem of making a video about leaks that you know are made up. Well, the part of the reason I made the video was to basically say and point people's attention to the idea of this and be like, listen, you guys need to think for yourselves. Look at all this stuff. There's no creativity here. It's literally every rumor and everything that has been talked about for Xbox the last 2 years compiled into a single spot. That's exactly what this guy did here. He basically was on Reset Air, on NeoGAF, listening to different things, and just literally took every single rumor that you could possibly find and list them, right? That's why I made the video. Because if you listen to the video, like, I pretty much, for the most part, just destroy it. I'm like, come on, guys. Like, we should be better than this. So, and another thing is, like, I make videos because a lot of people want to see them. You have no idea how many DMs I get about this stuff. My DMs are full. Like, oh my God, look at this. You need to make a video. I want to hear what you think. Oh my God. Like, and I make videos of stuff I want to talk about and stuff the audience wants to hear. So that's why we're talking about it right now and why I'm kind of making fun of it. So when stuff like this happens in the future, you're better equipped with information. You can basically see it for yourself and be like, okay, this may not be right. He says that Fable. He's like, there's nothing new or real secret, or there's nothing new or a real secret at this point. Honestly, it's the worst kept secret. Blah 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 blah. He can personally confirm that it's a Fable game, right, and that it'll be revealed this year.
See, I ain't sure Fable's gonna be there either.
Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong, but I wouldn't put that as a definite in my predictions, which will probably go up next week.
Yeah, which we'll probably talk about our predictions on the next podcast because I'll have my video out soon. He says Sea of Thieves, Battletoads will be there, Project Lex Cloud info, next gen Xbox systems. I mean, come on,
obviously,
come on. It's all super easy, basic prediction stuff that I'm gonna have in my video as well. Like this, Jesus. Now here's the other stuff that, like, people ran with. Has a high chance of happening. A new MechAssault game. He says next Forza Motorsport plus Forza Horizon 4 expansion 2. Now the expansion is gonna be there, but I don't think they're gonna tease a new Motorsport because the new Motorsport's ways away.
I think, like, they might use Motorsport. If they do talk about the next Xbox, they might use Motorsport as a sort of visual representation of what Anaconda can do. But that's just to let you know that it is coming, and that isn't news because they've already talked about working on the next version of Motorsport or whatever. So that's weird. I don't think they're not going to announce Forza Motorsport 8 at E3. I'd be shocked if they did.
Yeah. So Sub Zedox in chat, my buddy, he says, actually, if you listen to the latest dev updates from Joe Neat, it kind of leads me to believe that Sea of Thieves won't be shown at E3. I mean, who knows with that? I mean, they did just release a big update. Maybe they don't have anything new to tease.
Yeah, maybe.
It's entirely possible. Hey, Capcom's next big title is going to be there. It could be Resident Evil 3 remake, but it could be Dino Crisis remake. I don't know, but Capcom's going to be there. Oh my God, more rumors. And more Japanese games. Wow, going on a limb there. Going on a limb. Saying more Japanese games. Small possibility of happening. Next gen Rare IP. Perfect Dark reboot. Maybe. And 3 game studios. Either Ion Interactive, Relic Entertainment, and Asobo Studios. And 2 studios he knows for sure that aren't getting purchased are CD Projekt Red and Creative Assembly.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So, look, I know people we're in E3 time. Some people want to know what's going to be there and stuff like that. Like, just think with your head sometimes. And like Indie Gamer says in chat, it's such a safe list. Yes, it is. It's like the most safe stuff you could possibly say. No, nothing new. Everything's been rumored before. Which is why I was kind of very just like I just because Sam messaged me. He was like, I listened to your video. And he's like, you sound annoyed or irritated. It's like, well, yeah, because I got to talk about this stuff, and it's like, oh my God, like, how is this? How are anybody like literally thinking this is, comes from like an insider, quote unquote. You got an insider like Cloburl saying, hey, Microsoft might be getting Obsidian, and then 6 months later they got Obsidian, or talks about Fable before anybody talks about a new Fable at Playground, and then Eurogamer confirms it. You talk about people that have real sources of information, So that's why I wanted.
I leaked the Razer turret.
I mean, yeah, Jez. Jez got the Razer turret. So
I leaked the
yeah,
Xbox the sad name. I was pretty happy that turned out to be
Xbox
accurate.
One's sad.
Xbox One sad. I have one of those right here. I'm gonna review it.
Yep.
That should be fun.
Oh man, oh man, oh man. I'm just waiting for something real to come through. Something real. Something I can bite my teeth
real.
into. Something where I see something and I'm just like, you know what? This guy might know some things. This guy might have something up his sleeve that maybe he's hurt some people. I see that list and I'm just like, anybody can make this list. You've been paying attention in the last year and a half. Literally anybody. Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
The only insiders that I really pay attention to are Clobrill, Brad Sams.
Oh,
That's
Brad
it.
Sams is good.
Brad Sams is good. He's good.
Brad Sams knows what he's talking about. I listen to jazz. I listen to a couple other people that I know, but I mean, they're yeah, like Colburl, he's great. They're just people that you trust. You know have a relationship with for years that have been right about a lot of stuff, and it's just like okay, yeah.
Indubitably.
So you want to take some questions, Chaz?
Sure, man.
We can get out of here. So we're gonna take some questions. Hit us up in chat with anything you want us to answer. We appreciate everybody being here tonight. Love all the support. Love seeing like 537 people currently here live. And if you enjoyed the podcast, make sure you hit the like button. We'd really appreciate it. And drop us a question. First one up.
Sorry, go on.
Well, if we got a question from Face already. Why are people championing game streaming? Streaming equals not owning your games, DRM, always online at the mercy of your internet speed, the end of game preservation lags. I don't get it. I'm not really sure people are championing it other than talking about like
it's more the inevitability of it.
The inevitability? Yeah.
It's like it was inevitable that when internet speeds got fast enough that a service like YouTube or Netflix happened. You know, I remember the days of the old internet where it took like half an hour to load a bloody picture. You know, there was no such thing as a streaming video website. You know, it's funny because GIFs went out of fashion because they were so slow to load on old internet speed, and then they came back into fashion when internet speeds were fast enough to download GIFs again. So it was like it was inevitable that Netflix and stuff like that happened. Just like, for better or worse, it's inevitable that game streaming is going to happen. That's what people talk about when, I think, at least when it comes to the core gamers, because we game on console, we don't really care if streaming takes off or not because we do our gaming on console. And like, as much as I would like to be able to, you know, play some of my games on my phone, I wouldn't want to give up ownership in order to achieve that goal, you know. So this is why I'm hoping that some games you'll be able to pay to own to have them as a streaming thing. But again, I don't know if that will happen. You know, it's weird times. I think the important context to have when we talk about game streaming, at least, is just in the context of the industry, in the context of Microsoft, and in the context of if one company doesn't, if one company evolves and the others don't, and streaming does take off, that's gonna hurt the companies that do care about console gaming. So like, if Google's Stadia platform really takes off and they don't care about game preservation, they don't care about game ownership, then Google Stadia gets to control the narrative and they get to control the future of gaming. But like, if PlayStation and Xbox, who do care about game ownership and preservation, if they at least compete with Google on an even footing with their own platforms, then at least the things that we like about console gaming, even if it is quote unquote niche, at least that will stay around because it'll be in the right hands, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really.
Long didn't read.
I mean, I don't really think people are championing it. They're just talking about what the future holds. Like, I'm not going to be streaming games. I'm right there with you. Like, I'd rather own my games, but I guess you could say like digital downloads are not really owning them either. The always online stuff, the DRMs, yeah, it basically is kind of the reintroduction of what Xbox's whole strategy was at 2013. But as we've seen, people will always gravitate towards convenience rather than ownership. It's music went from vinyl to CDs to basically downloads to subscription services. People don't own music anymore; they just
And
subscribe to Spotify.
I remember
You know?
when even CDs for a little while they tried to put DRM on CDs where
Mm-hmm.
you couldn't copy them to
Sony
your
got in
hard
trouble,
drive.
I believe, for
Uh,
that. Yeah,
Really?
yeah, but I'm pretty sure you can. I think you can type like Sony CD, like rootkit or whatever it was. But yeah, they got in trouble for that. Like, and look at movies. You went from VCR, like cassette tapes, VCRs. You went, DVDs, the Blu-rays, digital downloads, and streaming with Netflix. I mean, Blockbuster was like so adamant that people would always want a store and physical stuff that they didn't bother to even kind of go into streaming until later. Now Netflix is one of the biggest companies out there. Like, people just want streaming. The people choose convenience over anything else, and it's just kind of a fact. And like for me and for you and for most of the people listening to this, yeah, we're just going to play on our console or play on our PC natively. But as Jez kind of said in the podcast, the normies, they don't really care. They're just going to play stuff where they're going to play stuff or where it's the cheapest thing. So I haven't really seen because Xbox doesn't even have streaming. Like, so I don't see like Xbox guys talking about it, how great it is, because we haven't even used it. The one who's been using it for the past 5 years is PlayStation. They've been there with PlayStation Now, and most of the time you hear is it's trash. And the only other kind of test was Google's, which a lot of people said worked well. So, thanks for the question. Carl Namaman wants to know favorite flavor of Mountain Dew. The regular one, but then I also love Code Red. Oh man, do I love Code Red.
We only get the one flavor in Europe, and that's the
Yeah.
green one. I don't know what that is.
D.I. Almighty Spartan God wants to know why people love to throw subliminals instead of calling name. Oh, that's a good question. Maybe they stole my stick. Maybe they're stealing sticks. I don't know. Because like once you kind of like say a name, it's out there. You can't take it back. So like, if somebody wants to talk crap about me, but they don't say my name and I listen to it, yeah, maybe I think it's not about me. But if they said my name, well, then it's on. You know what I mean? Like, you can kind of get away with taking shots at other people and kind of just vaguely mentioning things without saying it. But I mean, hey, look at Dealer Gaming's tweet the other day. I mean, he called someone out. He didn't hold anything back. So, yeah. Let's see what else we got here.
YouTube drama series.
I know. Michael Monkey Punch Lugo wants to know, Jez, how you doing, buddy?
I'm all right.
Jez is doing good. Jez is doing great.
I'm building my Helm's Deep inspired base in Minecraft, so I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. RD Matador 809 in Super Chat says streaming and Stadia can hit the toilet for all I care. We gamers should stay strong and let these companies to keep consoles alive. I mean, I don't care if it takes off either. I'm not going to be streaming. Sure, I'll test out the tech whenever Microsoft releases xCloud just to see if it works, but that's not how I'm going to game. But honestly, it's not going to be the hardcore that determines if these future streaming stuff is going to be a success or not. It's the normies.
The thing is, I'm for getting the normies on board if it leads to them being converted into real gamers. What scares me is that the types of games they might push to sell these platforms are going to be normified sort of games, like, I don't know, Fortnite, I guess, and other free-to-play sort of games. So like, and Candy Crush and that sort of thing. But I think like that's why Google is the bad one, because they're the ones who'll push that sort of stuff, man. I'm concerned about those guys. I don't like Google. Do you know
Yeah.
that I don't like Google, Ren?
I kind of can tell. I kind of can tell. And like Lumi says, hit that like button. We got 530 watching. Hit that like button if you're enjoying the show. Han Zolo says, Ren, what's your opinion on the recent Call of Duty rumors? Basically that,
Ooh.
yeah, we didn't really talk about this, so I guess we can talk now. Man, they had some, they took Sledgehammer and Raven off of Call of Duty 2020, according to Kotaku, and they put Treyarch on Call of Duty 2020. When normally these studios have 3 years to make a game, Treyarch has to turn around and do another Black Ops and 2.
Oof.
And that the work that Raven and Sledgehammer were doing would be utilized for the campaign. So this kind of throws what the hell's going to happen to Call of Duty 2021 up in the air, because Treyarch was supposed to be doing Call of Duty 2021. Now they're doing Call of Duty 2020. Infinity Ward's game this year, which is rumored to be Modern Warfare 4. Are they going to be expected to turn around a Call of Duty game in 2 years for 2021? Like, are we actually going to have a year here without a Call of Duty game? What do you think about all this, Jez?
I don't know. I mean, personally, I stopped caring about Call of Duty after Modern Warfare, after Black Ops 1, I think. Because it just became apparent to me that Activision didn't care about making a great game. They really just cared about, rehashing the same game over and over and over and over and over and over. And I did get suckered in by Black Ops 4. But again, I was just like, man, this is just more of the same, crappy servers and all that sort of thing. So I, it's weird because on the one hand, I'm kind of thinking, man, maybe this will be like a really poor Call of Duty this year. But on the other hand, I'm kind of thinking, well, Call of Duty fans have been happy to buy the same thing over and over again for years anyway. So maybe it doesn't even matter.
And maybe it doesn't even matter. Maybe it doesn't even matter. Hyper Smurf wants to know, Ryan, who's been accusing you of stealing ideas? I've heard you mention in a couple of podcasts. Didn't you know? I'm the stick stealer. I stole other people's sticks on YouTube. I don't know. Just people talking crap, and I'll talk crap right back. Rand, why are you so angry about this leak thing? You sound like someone hurt your feelings. Just curious. You sound really over upset about this. I'm not angry. I look at it. I'm like, okay, anybody could produce this. Like, you could go on a forum and write that list out. I could do it. Jez could do it. Anybody listening to this podcast could literally do that. And then websites, because they're always looking for the next big thing, they take that and be like, supposed insider, he leaks the entire list. But there's nothing of new information. That's the whole thing that kind of gets me. It's like nothing in that was new. It's
the
all
laziness.
Old. It's laziness. So I'm not angry. Of course, I'm not angry. It's just annoyed. Maybe annoyed. I don't know. It's just for what, like, websites and whatever, and how easy it is to be. Are you an insider and all that stuff? It's just a little bit annoying. Like, I wanted to see, this is the entire conference and something new, something that never has been talked about, instead of everything that everybody already knows. I don't know. Nick says, will the new Xbox be called Xbox -1? You never know with their marketing department what it'll be called,
man.
right?
Microsoft is so bad at naming products. I can't understand how one company can be so consistently bad at naming products.
Yeah.
First you got the Xbone, then you've got the Xbox
Xbone.
Sad, the Xbone X, which is like, at first I really hated the rumors that it was going to be called the Xbox One X, because it was just kind of like, man, that just seems dumb. But it wasn't so bad in the end. And like, an argument can be made that names don't really matter that much, and sure, the truth of the product matters more than the name. But man, they're just really bad at stuff.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. What else we got here? Let's see. We got a question from Patman Gaming. He says, "Do you think Brad Sam saying Halo will have a battle royale was true?"
But Didn't they literally come out and say no, it won't?
Yeah, but the thing with them is they always say things and then they have to backtrack. They're not always 100% truthful. I would
Mm.
imagine at some point they probably prototyped a battle royale for Halo, right? Um,
I
will
know.
there?
I know Microsoft is exploring battle royale for one of their games at the moment.
Yeah. So I would imagine there was a prototype, maybe tested to see how that would go out and things of that nature. Do I see them doing it for Halo Infinite? I could see it being a mode, sure. I guess maybe not necessarily at launch, maybe down the road. I wouldn't necessarily discount it, like because when they say certain things like Frankie and stuff, I mean, they're just you know he says no, but you never like he's been caught in lying before or not telling the truth. So I wouldn't be surprised if there was. I mean, Halo makes sense. Halo Battle Royale makes 100% sense.
I mean, the
100%.
Warzone was like I didn't play Halo 5 that much. Like I don't really like the Halo shooting style. I much prefer Battlefield for my shooter. But the mode that I enjoyed the most by far was Warzone. Like the chaos of Warzone was really awesome. So if they do some kind of, I don't know, mode like that, I would Halo's perfect for it because you've already got the vehicle engine there. You've already got like a bunch of the stuff you need to make the infrastructure you need to make a battle royale work. So I don't
Sam Tolbert has a question. He says, "Hearing good things about Gears 5, do you think it'll be a Game of the Year contender?"
know. Oh yeah, so I think it was Clover again who leaked some marketing spiel about Gears 5 recently. I think he posted it on NeoGAF. And it's basically a description about Gears 5 being bigger than ever, being 4K 60 across all of its modes and all that sort of stuff. So I think like Game of the Year contender. I think for Game of the Year for a game to be Game of the Year contender in 2019, I think like a lot of what the critics are really looking for is like stellar, mature storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
And I suppose we'll have to wait and see if Microsoft can achieve that because historically, I feel like Microsoft is afraid of really telling a properly mature story. They seem to go for these sort of more safe comic book style tropes and all that sort of thing that doesn't resonate with the people making the decisions on things like the Game Awards and stuff like that. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
We'll have to wait and see what like the rest of the games are for the rest of the year and if they're Game of the Year worthy. I think the coalition is going to surprise a lot of people with Gears 5. But you're right, like they would have to take risks storytelling wise. Like, will they do that? And in my risk, I mean like, hey, maybe it's time to kill off Marcus. Maybe it's
Whoa.
time to, like have JD or Kate become the villain. Like
Whoa.
things like that are risky storytelling devices. You can't just play it cookie cutter safe anymore.
Yeah.
So I mean, I want it to do incredibly well. I'm looking forward to playing the campaign. Um, let's see what else we got here before we get out of here. Let's see. I think that's it. Yeah, seems that it. So we're gonna end the show there, roughly right at about the 2 hour mark. I want to thank everybody who showed up live and posted in chat. Supported the channel with super chat, or I mean, just being here is enough. Really appreciate it. And if you enjoyed the show, as always, subscribe if you're new. Hit the like button if you enjoyed it. Notification bells right there if you always want to be notified when this podcast go live or any of my other videos. Jez, what do you got going on? I know you said you had a Sea of Thieves article come out today. Your Xbox
I did.
predictions for E3 coming out soon, as well as mine.
Did you read my Sea of Thieves article?
I have not read your Sea of Thieves article yet. That is definitely something I will read because I want to see why you apologize to Joe Neat and them beforehand.
Well, it's 50 things they should have to say. 50 things.
50
It,
things.
it took me 2 days to write, and it's 4,000 words. It's the longest editorial I've ever done, I think. I was pretty bored at the time.
Yeah. So,
Other than that, I'm going to review the Xbox Sad Edition this week, I think.
geez. Hey guys, it's an Xbox One S without the disk drive. There's your review.
Oh, thanks. I don't have to
Yeah, I
remember.
did it for you. You know. So, appreciate everyone being here. Hi to everybody listening later on Google or iTunes, and we'll see you next week with our E3 predictions and whatever else happens in the wonderful wide world of gaming. This has been Randall Thor 19 Stick Stealer Extraordinaire for Jess Corden, Windows Central of the Xbox 2 podcast. We'll see you guys later. Have
Take
a
care,
good one.
everybody.